Becoming other people. Yo, what's going on? It's someone that's someone, and welcome back to today's report. Today's report was sent in by Ash. When this happened, November of 2019. The drug used was LSD at a dose of 650 micrograms. The route administration, orally. Gender, male. Weight, 160 pounds. Age, 18. Height, 5'11". Prior experience includes cannabis, shrooms, LSD, dissociatives, deliriums, etc. His set, subtle nervousness, and the setting, complete darkness in his bedroom. Okay, so today we have a brief acid report from Ash that shows part of what it can offer in terms of ego dissolution and ego loss. Ash came into this mainly preferring shrooms, but with this being his first really high acid dose, he ended up for quite the trip here. His environment seemed to play a really strong role as well in this. 7 dry grams in darkness is a classic I'm sure many of you've heard, so I guess Ash had the same idea with almost 7 tabs worth of acid. He experiences a ton of visuals that eventually encompass his entire field of vision and mentally his whole sense of self, to the point where he hallucinates living other lives and participating in various scenarios. This report definitely hits in many ways if you've ever experienced something like this, but if you haven't, it is a good look into what could potentially happen from a strong psychedelic dose. I'm sure you'll enjoy this one, so without further ado, let's dive right into this. Leading up to the experience, I had always been very interested in delving deeper in the psychedelic pool of astonishment, and had been experimenting with different dosages and combinations here and there, but most of my experiences were with shrooms, since they are more of a spiritual substance than LSD, and the overall experiences I have had were much better than LSD. I had done dosages upwards to 8 grams of shrooms, but the highest dosage I had done with LSD had been 250 micrograms. I didn't expect much from this trip at first, since I figured, how different could a high dose of acid be compared to shrooms? But oh boy, was I in for a trip. The usual setting in which I do psychedelics is in my room, usually late at night, since I prefer taking them in complete darkness to enhance the effects. I take the tabs and turn off the lights, but leave my door open with the lights on outside of my room, but it wasn't too bright to disturb the darkness in my room. I put my headphones on and start listening to meditation music to calm me down for the come up. I knew it was hitting me hard when, just after 20 minutes, I had found myself trying to remind myself that I had just taken LSD and I'm tripping. The visual distortions started getting stronger and stronger, and the dim light outside of my room soon turned into wavelengths of light moving about by my door. I laid flat on my back in my bed and took the headphones off to have complete silence. After about 1 hour of taking the tabs, I had reached the point of not knowing who or what I was, and where I was, and what was happening. Needless to say, it started to freak me out at first, since it had all happened so fast. But then I calmed myself down and went back to laying down. I don't remember the time frames in which the upcoming events happened, but I would guess it was about 2 to 3 hours after taking the tabs is when I was peaking. I sit up halfway and try to look outside my room, but my whole vision is just one huge combination of patterns that are moving about. I try waving my hands in front of my face, and I can't see them, just like when you're in complete darkness, but I wasn't, and I had light peeking into my room through the door, and I still couldn't see anything but the huge combination of patterns. I panic a little, thinking, that's it, I've officially fucked up my brain to a point of no return. I figured, can't do anything about it, and go back to laying down on my back. A little bit later into the trip, I find myself being able to focus on a certain activity or place, and immediately get teleported into somebody else's body who was currently in that place or doing that certain activity. For example, I focused and was able to teleport completely out of my body and experience being a dad that was pushing his son on a bike. Then I teleported myself into a luxury hotel, and many more that I can't recall. But what was interesting was that I was experiencing those things through other people's bodies, faces I had not seen before, in places I had never seen. After a while, I start to come down and realize my vision isn't just one big pattern anymore. Afterwards, it was just me being lost in thought loops, and the usual LSD come down. Another interesting thing was that I took the tabs at about 2 a.m. and still had visual drifting until the next night. I would definitely try this again, and maybe even at a higher dose. Winky face.